discussing the more technical aspects about our funding sources, where we're getting the money and how we're using it. I think we need extensive work for us to understand now what we're actually spending the money on, and how we can adjust or understand some of the priorities of the district based on where money is going and what staffing allocations exist. One of the questions I had was around the improvement request binder. And when we look at some of the improvement requests by department that were approved, I would like some rationale around the advisement and counseling area specifically, where the positions that were requested in terms of elementary, middle, and high school counselor allotment were in the neighborhood of 80 positions, 80 additional full-time positions, and none of those appear to be in the recommended budget. And to your point, I understand that that's a tall ask, but could we share some insight around what we're going to do to honor that request?
Yeah, I'll kind of start with a comment or two, and then I don't know if Dr. Taylor may want to add something as there as well, since that request came through that division. That is an area we want to consider further relative to the additional SEL services and what needs we're going to have relative to starting next school year. How can we maybe utilize and leverage some of these CARES Act funds or federal stimulus funds that we have available over the next 2 to 3 years? And again, I think I've commented before, I want us to be careful about how we use these federal CARE Act funds to kind of supplement some of these services that we're going to be doing. Because if we put positions in this CARES Act funding, which we probably could be able to do, because as a large district, we have enough turnover with people either retiring or leaving, that we could probably manage and absorb some of those into our general fund if need be. But we got to be conscientious of how we use those funds and maybe use some contracted services or other outside services in which we're not hiring and engaging employees, which we would then have to either absorb in our general fund or not be able to fund that service going forward. So I don't know, Dr. Taylor, if you kind of want to add a little more regarding that area of counselors and kind of some of the services.
Sure, and I think I would echo what Mr. Heffron just shared, but I do want to think it's appropriate maybe to start and underscore a previous discussion that Mr. Heffron shared with us, and maybe level set expectations around improvement requests. To give perspective, we do recognize the burden that you bear in some very critical decisions that are going to be happening. Improvement requests are just that. They're intended to improve or augment the program that exists. They don't always necessarily represent a whole. And, in our division, I won't speak for other divisions necessarily, but in our division, our prioritized list, we do take into account kind of a good, better, and best planning philosophy with different scenarios. And so if an improvement request is not funded, it doesn't necessarily mean that, we're not able to still sufficiently provide services. We have a couple of plans in place.
Mr. Heffron, Dr. Taylor, thank you. My question is regarding sustainability. We all heard a presentation from Dr. Parker regarding SEL. We've heard from our students communicating the need for the social-emotional support services. We all understand that for our students to achieve academic success, the foundation of that is the social-emotional support that they receive. So in terms of moving beyond the CARES Act fund, sure, how can we integrate in these budget improvement requests to continuously support the needs of our students so that they can achieve academic success?
Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
And then I just wanted to just say the other thing is there's quite a bit of research that says that 700, there should be a counselor or social worker or therapist or whatever per every 700 students.